now beaming into Nerd FT Radio.
This is Nerd FT Radio. We're nerds full-time, explorers of the metaverse, surfers of the blockchain, and not in our mom's basement. I'm your host, RSG, AK. I suck at Marvel Snap now, and I'm with Crypto Crier, AK the ETH Longor. How are you,
right.
Crier?
Long and ETH, baby. Doing well,
Dude,
printing some money.
ETH is pumping. The energy is back. Yeah. Crypto might be back. The blockchain might be back, but the economy is in shambles still. Yeah. But we're always here back at Nerd FT Radio, and we got some awesome topics to talk about. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm going to be honest with you. Just the last topic we have, which is the nerd stuff, is my most excited one because there's 2 trailers. But let's talk about what we got going on right now. So the first thing, let's go ahead and dive into the sale that happened, if I'm not mistaken, a week, maybe 2 weeks ago on Opensea. So obviously, we know what you can do on Opensea. You can buy these things called digital. I mean, I was going to say digital collectibles, but they're really NFTs, just with a different word on it. But we know that we can buy all these NFTs that we all love and care for, these PFPs, sandbox land. But now, hey, we're going to elevate this. You were like, hey, you're going to buy some land in the metaverse. We're going into the real world now. So what has happened is an individual, if I'm not mistaken, it was a company, sold a house in South Carolina for $175,000. We got to find out if it was ETH, because if it was, the sellers screwed.
USDC.
And
I looked it up.
It was USDC. So we're good. Good job on both parties. But like I said, let's go back to it. So a house was bought on OpenSea with one transaction, and the person clicked it and sold the house. That easy.
It's fucking huge.
That's crazy.
So that's the next step is, we've all been talking about this, that I've said multiple times, that will be NFTs will not only just be collectibles, they're going to be your title to your car, your house deeds, property deeds, anything that has a physical important copy now will now have a digital version that is stored in your main wallet, right? So a company called RoofStock is managing on-chain real estate. This was one of the first ones. $175,000 house sold in South Carolina for USDC. It was something that is super easy, just how you would on OpenSea. It's a couple clicks, and now you're able to own a rental property. It tells you like gross yield. It's tell you the cap rate right on the actual property spotlight. So this is built for people that are either long-term crypto investors that are looking for other avenues, or just people that have like a lot of like free cash right now, which is cash is king right now. We've seen it happen for a little while, and just in the general market terms. And now that people are, utilizing it a little bit more, we've seen some utilization on USDC lately. So I would say this is massive just in general for the entirety of crypto. The housing market was $226 billion in the US last year. And that's just through like realty fee. That's not counting the actual value of the homes. It's just counting the profit that real estate companies made. So literally there is, why do you need a realtor? Right? If you can just list your house, we've already seen that going and being more popular in general. Stuff like Redfin has come out in the space a couple years ago. They, you can list your house for like 2.5% instead of I would say an average, probably like 5-6% off the top of your house when you sell it. So same thing. Now, instead of, it's just OpenSea is getting 2.5%. But guess what? As these come along, stuff like RoofStock, they might do a lower percentage to incentivize people to list their housings on there. And at the end of the day, less and less friction is caused by these markets. So less and less fees will get collected over time, right? So it'll be P2P house trading in the future.
No, 110%. Now, the funny thing about this all is I absolutely love the trait aspect on OpenSea, where when you go to the traits, obviously for like, let's say my cool cat, you get the red beret, you get the ninja costume, you get the glasses and the back blue screen. On this, instead, it's 2.5, bedroom 2.5,
Yeah.
bathrooms 2.5, bedrooms 3, city, Columbia, house size square feet 1,495,
manicured lawn.
manicured lawn, property type, house, state, South Carolina, year built, 2006. So it's super cool to see that, because obviously on the side of what we've been doing for the last year, buying these NFTs, going off of traits, imagine the simple factor of, if it's this one company that has, let's just say, thousands of these houses all over the United States, all over the world. Imagine with all these traits, you can specifically find things super fast, super easy, and the aspect of clicking a button and getting what you want based upon your selection is game changing. And when you can actually implement the AR VR side of things as well. Imagine you have this house, you see it. Obviously, it's in another state, seven states over to the left, and you're not able to go. You don't want to take that journey all the way over. We know that we can get the pictures and all the whole nine, but imagine a world where we implement the metaverse into this, and you're able to go on that AR VR goggles that you have, probably not the $1,500 one from Meta, because that's very expensive, but maybe just putting your phone up, buying a $20 little gadget on Amazon, and just moving your head a little bit, and you're able to go into this house and see those features, et cetera, et cetera. So it's super cool to see what this could lead to. So the one thing I did want to also mention on the sense of like how exactly they did it, it was on this company, like you said, RoofStock. What they did was they opened up the house as an LLC, correct?
I'm not super sure on that.
Yeah.
part.
So here, I got it right here. So the way
cool.
the company does it is by opening up an LLC for each individual home. They then tokenize the LLC and mint the NFT that represents ownership of the dedicated home /LLC.
Gotcha. Because it's being sold as like a profit mechanism, as a rental property.
Exactly.
Yeah, so very interesting concept. And again, like this is something that, all aspects of crypto are going to change how we are functioning today. Like we've seen it before with the internet. Like we will see a rapid change in a lot of, a lot of these sectors, because there's going to be a lot of innovation. And this is just one of them. We most talk about games and stuff like that, but we're going to be talking about a bunch more things, because guess what? Every sector is going to be replaced by something that is cryptologically, sound, right? So I think this is just the first step. And I think there's going to be a lot more of this type of stuff coming, as the housing markets are generally, I would say, on their way down. Probably pricing is going to get a little bit cheaper just because we've been tightening so much. Interest rates are crazy high. We could see more of these types of things pop up. And I think there's a lot of, like, a huge amount of potential for these to do really well.
No, I definitely agree. And let me ask you, Crier, I know we're going to jump into another topic just in a little bit, but I'd like to talk about this one first. In a world where we talk about the blockchain and it goes into and it features into all these organizations, all these processes, all these Web 2 companies, where do you see the blockchain also affecting? We always say real estate. We can even you also mentioned like
games,
your house,
like
we mentioned games, we mentioned all of this, but more on the sense of like something different. So you did mention your car deed, where that would be in your wallet, et cetera, et cetera. What else do you see the blockchain like taking over or helping move up the next level of technology and other things? Exactly. Elevate.
I mean, I think one of the biggest ones that I think will come out of this is going to be like shopping for clothes and stuff like that, fashion and stuff like that, because I saw a couple of articles about this company. Recently, it's been in the news with Azuki. So we saw the Azuki release those physical skateboards that are like gold. They sold for 309 ETH through like 200 something ETH or something like that. It's for 9 or 10 skateboards. And they have a physical bound token to these actual skateboards, so that when you buy and sell this skateboard, it's transferred, the physical item is transferred to the new wallets, and it's with the skateboard, like you can't pretty much break into it. So I saw a really cool talk about this, talking about clothing. So people are going to have, maybe one time you pay to get your full current weight and sizing for all clothes you get a physical bound token, and then you go into these metaverse commercial stores, like, with, say, like Nike has a store, and all these really high end clothing stores have little metaverse stores. You now have a token that has all of your sizes built in. So when you look at their clothing options, it literally just populates on you. It's one click, and then you now have items on the way to your house. Similar to how we saw, catalogs, and we saw that got changed into Amazon. No one's going to buy this shit on the internet. They want to see it in person. No, they don't. They want it to be convenient. All people want convenience, do less stuff. So next step,
more work. Ugh.
All my clothes fit properly. They are, they're kind of like almost more like a made to fit type situation. And then you're able to picture them in the metaverse on a real avatar that are getting more and more realistic every day. So, within 10 years, I think fashion will be completely different than it currently is. What about you?
No, I definitely like what you just said. And before I get into like some of the things that I've thought about, like at my job or at the things that I love to do here in Orlando, Florida. So we'll talk about that. But the one thing I really liked what you just said on the sense of fashion, one of one of the features that the Meta Quest Pro 2, the new one from Zuckerberg and Meta came out.
Yeah.
I kind of like what you just said. Imagine having these goggles on. And the crazy thing about these goggles is somehow not only is it scanning your facial features, and like if you're mad, happy, your eyes go up, down, whatever the case may be, it's also somehow projecting and figuring out that you're walking and whatnot. So imagine a world where maybe one day, like you said, you would buy to have everything rendered. But imagine if these goggles, this technology that's later down the road, you put it on and it can like scan everything that it needs to. And then when you're in these stores online, you would then be able to like, this is how it's going to look. This is obviously not 100%. I would hope one day it would be 100%, but it could get near perfect, 90% sure. Yeah. And of course we already know on your end and my end, like when I buy shirts, it's either going to be small or medium, and I get smacked almost every single time from a new store because it's either really big at small or really big at medium. So I know the process 100%. Of having to send it back and forth. Imagine if that, let's say that's at 50%. If that can get higher than 50% every single time because of these goggles, or 40% higher, that could be pretty game changing. And obviously these companies buying with shipping fees and the logistics behind it could save a bunch, not only the consumer but also the company, a lot of money on that side of things.
Look at like Amazon literally has it to where you have like the wardrobe box that gets sent to your house, and then you ship everything back. Like constant supply and demand waste and supply chain waste is happening because they literally don't even try to they can't resell any of this stuff. They literally just pack it in boxes. People rebuy it and resell it on their stores. That's how Amazon flippers make a ton of money or whatever. So like even though they make a ton of money, there's still a lot of efficiencies that could come up from these types of creations and further development and technology growth. So, I definitely see what you're talking about. I definitely see it as a huge boost, even coming from my own field of chiropractic, looking at like medical records, like soulbound tokens are a thing. You can now have a soulbound token that is your medical record. You can have your diplomas. We talked about Brew Troops. They had their whole all of their tracking for past jobs and your current resumes and stuff like that. All of these things are very easily tokenizable and better and more secure and truth because there is a blockchain system engaged to it. So
that can verify.
Exactly. Verify these things. So it really is we're on a precipice of a large change in a lot of these systems.
A lot of sectors, a lot of companies, a lot of organizations, the whole nine. Now, I really liked what you just said about Brew Troops and Stone over there. I absolutely love what they're doing on the recruiting side. At home, in real life, I am a recruiter for a company, and what the blockchain can implement into my everyday life, this is one of the things I've always been saying. And on the side of like what Groot Troops has done is just the surface level. And I know for a fact Stone is going to elevate that into levels that I'm probably even talking about now, if not even more in detail, more in depth, because again, what this technology can do is truly incredible. Now, on the sense of like how I see it, imagine a world where Microsoft, who owns LinkedIn, has their own blockchain. And for all you degens out there, no, it's not a blockchain where you can buy and sell NFTs. I'm only talking about like a private blockchain that can verify your jobs, and that allows the recruiter to know that you 100% worked at a company. You 100% had that position. You 100% worked for 4 years, 7 months. They have 3 days.
The work experience. They have the most people lie on their resumes. You know it.
Almost every
person lies.
Listen. I'm going to be honest with you. When I put on my resume that I have a high level capacity of Microsoft Excel, let me tell everyone in the world right now, I don't. So, and most of you don't either. So again, in a way,
only FUD can say that.
Only FUD could say that. In a way where I truly can see this going in a direction where it's going to help that recruiter, or just take the recruiter away from me, because later down the road, AI probably already takes this job. Put in the way of verifying what you're looking for, and then going through the process of that interview, instead of me receiving hundreds of applications and 80% of them are lies, or 20% are they're lying, 30%, whatever the case may be. It filters out those individuals and brings that recruiter the next step of, hey, this is the type of people I'm looking for. And also, when you hire someone based upon that lie and they go into the position, they have no idea what the hell they're doing, you could have maybe avoided that based upon this verification.
Well, now you got to find somebody else that's actually qualified, or there's a lot of.
So I definitely see a way where it's like a private blockchain where LinkedIn, all these companies register into it to make sure the data goes through it. Obviously, you could look at it in a bad way as well. You don't want that data to be out there, et cetera, et cetera. But let's just say in an ideal world, that data would be logged.
Data's already there.
It's already there, right?
I mean, you're already on LinkedIn. You
have all
aspect of your entire life is there, but
like the true data that's in there. Yeah, pretty much the true data that would be in there. And imagine if it's like a POAP or just some way of an NFT that showcases and verifies that you worked as the CEO of X position of X company from 2007 to 2021, and these were the goals that you did, or whatever the case may be, and that would allow that next job to verify and know this is what that individual what happened. Did.
And so I don't think it's gonna be it's gonna be what that's literally what soulbound tokens were made for. Like,
exactly,
they show you the skills that you've had, and they can't be transferred out of this wallet. So if you want to use this wallet as your like Web3 identity, which most people are doing. I mean, you have your Red Sox guy.eth. That's your identity. Like, you could have you're not going to change it. So, there's definitely a lot of factors that play into this, whole thing. Like, there's more and more tokens are being developed, just how like the physical bound token was a newer, it's going to be an actual ERC, token. So there's definitely a lot of factors going into here. And again, like, it's going to be a sweeping change.
I definitely agree. Now, the number 2, this is more on the fun side. So, like I said, I'm in Orlando. One of the great things that I love about living in Orlando is I get to go to the amusement parks. Now, we all know the crazy Disney people all over social media. They're 40, 50 years old, and they still love Mickey Mouse. They love everything to do with Disney and all its characters.
Yeah.
When it comes to the annual pass or going to the park, there is exclusive items for those annual pass holders, as well as when you go to the parks, exclusive things at the parks. Imagine a world where it's on the POAP side. I feel like we haven't given POAPs its flowers, or at least the space hasn't, because the opportunity that POAPs, or just not even just POAPs, like another company that comes out and says, hey, we have this, could truly like revolutionize so many things, like for Web 2 companies and whatnot. So this is my idea I've always had. Obviously, as an annual pass holder, I can go to the park whenever I want. Imagine if every single time an individual went to Disney World, Universal Studios, et cetera, they got a POAP specifically for that day. And if you collect 7, 20, 50, 100 in 1 year, you get exclusive benefits, an opportunity to buy something, an exclusive magnet that everyone freaking loves, and you can go on eBay and buy it
exactly.
for a boatload of money, which is wild to me, even though I have like 1,000 Funkos right behind me. So that's not out of the reach for a lot of people. But I really think that it could be pretty cool. If it's on the sense of you're not able to buy and sell those, that's obviously up to Disney, because they could make a good % royalty on that. And it allows the individual that goes to the parks to also receive something. But more or less, I really looked at as they said, an opportunity to reward those individuals that are going to Disney every single day, that are buying stuff, eating there, being a part of that community. And I really do think that a lot of these companies are going to go into that route of community is key, and they really want to make sure that its community is happy with everything going on. It's not just the product and that's it. We've seen that with Discords and communities on Twitter and Instagram, where people's voices have never been louder ever in the entire existence of humans. And they have to realize that that's extremely, extremely important. So on the sense of giving back to them, obviously it's not here's some money. It's more the sense of here's something from Disney and an opportunity for exclusive things, a thank you, but also if you don't want it, buy and sell it to people that do want it, and you're also obviously going to receive something back. So I really that would be super awesome. My happy ass would be at Disney like every single day. But yeah, that's another thing that I would look into. Any other ones, or you want to jump into the next little topic?
Let's go next topic. What we got here?
All right, Crier, the banking system sucks is what I have to say, number one. Number two, the reason why I say that is some dude or some girl, some person just sent over like $100 million worth of Bitcoin for just $1. And it took him it took them like 2 minutes to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why are we still, this has been happening for what, like 10 years? At least, last year there's someone sent like $3 billion for like $1.87, so without, that's over 10 grand. Let's just stop that and see what actually is this, or, why you actually need this money. What are you doing with it? No questions. You can send your own money and do what you want with it. Yeah. That's the power of crypto.
Did you just say 3 billion, or you say
3 billion?
3 like with a B.
With a B.
And an I.
And the LL
and an LLON.
On the ON.
I just had to make sure. Again, when we think about what the blockchain can do, and it brings back the control to the person, and it's not the control to the people above us. Obviously, we need laws, policies, regulations for a lot of things, but in the sense of like, we're not in 1920 anymore. We're not in 1940 anymore. We're not in 2000 anymore. The people growing up know technology. There's kids that are 4, 5, 6 years old that know how to use a freaking phone better than you and me combined, Crier. And what I see truly happening later down the road is like this technology wave and the blockchain, crypto, AI, VR, AR, everything just revolutionizing. And it's going all the way back to the middlemen, middlewomen of the whole entire world, and those jobs and the goals that everyone has there. It's being done by forms of technology. And that sounds scary. That sounds bad. But that will also
it always sounds scary because it's just change.
Of course,
people
change.
Don't like change.
It's change.
100%. Like, and again, the reason that we're talking about this is because if you look at Europe, the new prime minister is talking about on a global level to now have CBDCs through like the G7 summit. Guess what? They've already had their chance to make sound money. They didn't. They decided to plunder all of it and secure the high wealth in small amount of people through the quantitative easing and our current money cycles and petrodollars and stuff like that. This is they want to keep that strength, and they see the strength of stuff like Bitcoin that's actually backed by mathematics. So yeah, this is this is probably the most important time to learn about decentralization and just crypto in general, because if you don't, you're going to be bamboozled by CBDCs. Like the they're still gonna, now you won't be able to send that, you won't be send that $100 million without questioning. You're not gonna be able to send that $3 billion without question. You're gonna have to be highly questioned, and it's gonna be super visible just to them with no benefit to you. So again, there's, that's one of the reasons that we are doing these podcasts, I feel, or me personally, at least, I think the strength is coming from us as individuals and group together communities. It's decentralization.
No, absolutely. Before we get into the nerd stuff, I have one message, and this message is for the United States government and Joe Biden. We always say that we're the first to do things, and we're the leaders of the free world, and we're the leaders of everything that has to do with the world. How the hell are you going to let the UK come in and recognize Bitcoin and other cryptos before you?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they really don't want that. They're doing like CBDC, like they want to make their own money. Europe is not doing that. Like, I feel like the U.S. wants to do the same thing too. I feel like they're trying to make a currency that's like the top 7 countries use. You know what I mean? Like, they take their current broken system and then just extend it to 7. Like, it's like a huge, like how the whole Brexit thing happened, pretty much with all of the countries united. They want to do that on a global scale with CBDCs as a central government body type situation. I think it's a terrible idea. So I mean, U.S. is definitely going that route. They've already said multiple times they want to do CBDCs, and I think it's definitely not the way to go. Just for the sake of the gap between wealth is going to just get larger.
Oh yeah, it ain't gonna look good. But enough about that.
Going deep today.
We're going deep. We're going into a rabbit hole today. But enough about that. Let's go into another rabbit hole. Let's jump over into the nerd stuff, because we had a freaking wild day yesterday. We got 2 new trailers, and I also almost forgot this. DC just dropped one of the biggest news probably since the start of the DCEU, which is the DC Extended Universe. Cryer, you asked me that the other day. I finally figured it out. It's kind of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's the same thing, just on the DC side, Warner Brothers side. So number 1, we got in the morning an Ant-Man 3 trailer that looks incredible, from the music to the action,
Ant-Man's
to
my
finally
favorite,
to finally seeing Kang in his full comic book suit. I cannot wait for this movie. We're getting Casey Lang as well. She's getting her own suit. Bill Murray is in this movie, and it looks like he's going to be like a side villain in the quantum realm. The whole movie, it's Ant-Man and Wasp into the Quantumania, if I'm not mistaken. That's what it's called. And what's going on here is they're going back into the quantum realm, and they're finding out that there's literally a world underneath our world, and things could be crazy there. I will say my one theory here. I believe that the Fantastic Four have been stuck in the quantum realm for years, and they're going to somehow get them out here, and that's where we're going to get these new characters. That's just like a fun thing that I think would be super cool to see, because I do also think we might see a little Dr. Doom in Wakanda. So if we do see that, your boy RSG is going to go crazy. Number 2, and this actually kind of relates to number 3. We got a Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas holiday edition, that movie trailer that is coming out on at the end of November. I'm pretty sure it's November 25th that it's coming out on
sweet.
Disney Plus. It's going to be an hour long, maybe an hour 20, I would assume, around that time. And it's going to be how Peter Quill, Star-Lord, is very upset that Gamora, as we saw at the end of Endgame, she just left. Number 1, she died in Infinity War. And number 2, they got the new Gamora from another multiverse to join this universe, but she's like, I have no idea I don't know these people. Let me kick Peter Quill in the balls, and then let me go somewhere else. So he's very upset, and what the rest of the team does is, it's around Christmas time, they want to take Peter back to Earth to celebrate Christmas. And one of the things that Peter loves is Kevin Bacon. And they went in the trailer to Kevin Bacon's house and the whole 9. That's number 1, the funny part. But the number 2 thing I want to focus on is watch the trailer again and look how Groot looks like. it's a new Groot. He's grown up a little. It's been a few months, maybe even a few years. He's built again. And I think that could be super cool. It's not adolescent anymore. It's more like we're calling him officially Groot now, it looks like.
Gotcha.
So we that's super cool for me to see that. And of course, hopefully we see some awesome characters. I will say that is confirmed. Cosmo the dog, which is the astronaut dog he was a Russian dog that got sent into space and they lost him. And then now he has like crazy powers that he can control things with his mind and talk through his mind. Crazy stuff. We're going to see Cosmo, and I can't wait to see Rocket and Cosmo talking with one another because they absolutely hate each other. So hopefully they stick to that. Now, the thing that connects to what just happened with this Guardians thing, it's actually on the DC side of things. We finally have our Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige is the president of Marvel, the guy the mastermind behind the Infinity Saga, all these shows, all these movies. Everyone wants to have someone like Kevin Feige in their movie studios, TV studios, etc.
Yeah.
DC has just announced that they have hired on James Gunn to be that guy for them. James Gunn is a dog. He's the director for Guardians 1, Guardians 2, Peacemaker, and Suicide Squad 2, and a boatload of other movies. So they all crushed. He is a true fanatic of DC, of Marvel, and this could lead into some awesome movies, awesome shows on the DC side. And I will say this, if there's one man that can get us a Marvel versus DC movie, I think it's James Gunn, because he has a very, very good connection with Kevin Feige. And if one day they do it, you can't see it, but I got goosebumps right now. So let's hope it happens. Woo.
Oh, yeah.
That was good. Crier, did you watch House of the Dragon?
I did, actually. I'm up to like episode 3. It was good.
Episode 3. How you liking it?
Sure. I'm liking it good. Yeah, it's like a lot. They definitely did a really good job. The characters are really good. I like the whole. I do like the whole court like power battle things. I do like that a lot, and other shows, stuff like that.
Things are getting interesting for you in episode 3, so it's going to be good. There's 10 episodes for this season. It looks like we're going to probably get 4 seasons of 10 episodes long. I will rate the season finale, because I've seen it, I'm going to say like a 6.8 out of 10. I was expecting more, but I understand why, because there's 3 more seasons. We just have to wait on 4. No, 6.8. Not good enough to be. There wasn't anything funny for it to be a 6.9. But I do see it coming. Like, I do see why they waited on that sense. But again, won't talk about it, so you can actually watch it and not get it spoiled. I will say one thing that I found out: a lot of people are going back and watching Game of Thrones because of House of the Dragon. I recommend not to do it. The reason why, and it's not because the last season was absolutely trash. It's because right before the Joffrey scene where he drinks the poison and you know what happens, Joffrey, the most hated character of all time, he actually ruins House of the Dragon. Don't watch Game of Thrones if you don't want Joffrey, the most hated character ever, to ruin House of the Dragon, because he literally goes through a scene and explains the whole entire show for us. So please do not watch it. It's pretty funny. Everyone's laughing all over it on Twitter, saying Joffrey ruined the show for us again. So it's super funny. That's super funny to see that. Hopefully,
he's never had any other acting.
He's like, I'm out. Hopefully, how we know in history where there's a lot of lies in history, maybe that's what he was told, and that's not how it actually happened. So we'll see if it's that. Maybe Game of Thrones throws that curveball into that. But other than that, again, that was an awesome episode. Thank you for all the listeners for tuning in. We will be back next week with more news and more bricks to help build the metaverse. We'll talk to you guys later. That was a good one. Peace.